With that, welcome back to the Western Roundup. It's been a couple weeks here, but I'm your host, Jessup Pelkey. I'm here with the ever so popular Mason Eisenzimmer of Mason Aaron Racing Videos. Give him a look up on either a Facebook or on his YouTube channel and any other places, Mason.
TikTok, although I've been very inactive on TikTok the last 2 months, and Instagram.
Good, nice. So anyways, a lot's happened here. As many of you, should I say even say many? Do we have many people following us?
It depends on the week, to be honest.
Do we get more than 30?
Yeah,
That doesn't seem very confident, Mason.
I it's hard to tell with like the way that Facebook does the metrics and all that, but let's just say 30.
Cool. So that's approximately a tenth of the racing population out west. I'm joking. Jeez. Nobody likes jokes. Anyways, it's been a busy past couple weeks here.
Nothing's happened at all.
Nothing at all. We were just pretty much full throttle, pedal to the metal with the activity in everyone's life. Becca and I welcomed our first child on September 11th, and it was due back around September 8th. So that kind of caused some hullabaloo and definitely changed our focus for at least a week and a half. So that kind of backed that up. And then Mason and John went out to the Wasota 100, and that kind of took up the next week. And now we're the week after, and we still got a whole lot of stuff going on. And meanwhile, during all that time, there's a lot of racing going on out west. So let's before we get into it, let's just Mason, how are you doing?
I've had a week, but it's going pretty well. It's kind of been a nice little breather, so to speak, because I lost and damaged a lot of equipment in the last little bit. So, as our friend John Breck would say, there's been a lot of carnage this past
You're
week.
doing it all wrong. Not enough emotion and enthusiasm in your voice for it to be carnage.
Yeah, I mean, a carnage.
Yeah, you've had a rough week.
That's
Meanwhile,
okay.
I've meanwhile back on my side of the world, welcomed our first child, and there was definitely an entertaining 24 hours of that carnage, and as we could call it. But everyone's good, everyone's healthy, baby's healthy, mom's healthy, and yeah, everything's good. Just some different sleeping patterns, but
Oh, I'm
that's all
sure.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But let's get after it, Mason. You're going to have to correct me on some stuff if I have it wrong here, mainly because um, I'm kind of sleep deprived and may have wrote some stuff down wrong.
Okay.
So let's go back to Labor Day weekend, August 30th. That would be Friday. Let's kick it off at Electric City Speedway for their 28th annual Montana Roundup Day number 1. They had the Frontier ASCS Region 360 sprint cars, and they had 57 cars come through the pit gates. As the main focus, as I said, was the ASCS sprints. They had 27 of those, 21 Midwest mods, and 9 NX Legends. Now, if you look on my race pass, it's going to say Sport Compacts. Looking at the names, those are not Sport Compact names. Those are NX Legends names, as they had them at the track to do kind of a exhibition race, demonstration type of deal. Kind of cool to see the class starting to grow out to the west a little bit. So definitely some fun there. So let's kick it off with the legends. It was Josh Broadbent picking up the Broomy in the exhibition races. Then in the Midwest mods, it was Joey Price going +7 to pick up the feature win. He was followed by Dayton Liscombe and Mario Berger, who went +4 after starting seventh to get third. Hard charger was, oh boy, is it Coster Liscombe?
I think it's Cooter. Cooterless.
Cooter. Oh, I had my pen kind of died there, but he went +10 for the hard charger to finish 11th. Heat wins would go to Dayton. Is it Dayton or Peyton?
Dayton.
Dayton. See, my handwriting's bad when I'm tired. But Dayton Liscombe, Colby Hanna, and Michael Scherb. In the ASCS sprint car feature, it was Hank Davis picking up the feature win over Sam Hafferty Jr. Seth Bergman would pick up third, and your hard charger was Skylar G going +8 to finish eighth. The
Gee, that's a
dash
lot
would
of
go to,
passing.
yeah, there's points where it was like there was a lot, but there wasn't a lot.
You totally missed my
I
dad.
did. Well, be quiet. You're picking on me and my sleep deprivedness. And I'm the one who's supposed to be doing dad jokes.
I'm trying to help you out.
Well, it was Hank Davis who picked up the dash win. Heat wins would go to Corey Wormling, Sam Hafferty, and Andrew. Let's make a deal. There you go, Mason. Matched you. Moving on over to the Gallatin Speedway for their track championship. They had 53 cars in attendance. Yep, 53 cars in attendance. They had Sport Compacts, Wasota Super Stocks, Wasota Street Stocks, and IMCA Modifieds. In the Sport Compacts, they had 12 in attendance. It was Don Olson going +3 to take the feature win. He was followed by Troy Wenning.
Weninger? Weninger?
Weninger.
Yep.
And then Gerald Frick, who also went +4. So hard charger would go to Troy. It was Eric Frick and Gerald Frick picking up your heat wins. In the Wasota Super Stocks, it was Paul Lease picking up the feature win from third, followed by Bo Brown going +5, who is also the hard charger, and Nick Hunter would go +2 for third. Is it Bill Monet or Bill Monet?
Couldn't tell you. I want to say Monet.
Monet. Okay, we'll go Bill Monet and Paul Lease with the heat wins, giving Paul his first brewmie of the weekend. In the Wasota Street Stocks, there was Robert Petroff, and we talked about passing here, Mason, +11 to get the feature win done. And the guys behind him also were putting on quite a show as well, as Caden Craver would go +6 for second, and Chris Galpin would go +4 for third. Dylan Hopp and Brock Salisbury would be your heat winners. In the IMCA mods, it was Kinzer McCord going +6 for the feature win, followed by Rex Feller and Devin Jadwin would go +8 as well for third. Rex Feller and Emery Wells would be picking up your heat wins. So that would wrap up the Gallatin Speedway and their track championship. Gillette Thunder had their 24th annual East-West Clash, night number 1. So, big kind of invitational for the West, kind of a one that we hear a lot about out east or mid east, I guess we could consider ourselves, because I view out east more as Wisconsin, Minnesota, like
Yeah.
the Duluth area. But we even hear about this race a lot, so that's kind of cool. So they got a pretty fun thing going on here. 111 cars, Mason, on night number 1, 3 mini bombers, 35 Midwest mods, 21 mod 4s, 16 IMCA hobbies, 26 IMCA mods, 10 super late models. In the mini bombers, it was Peyton Tyrell picking up a brewmie for the night. Then going down to the super late models, it was Eddie Kirchhoff picking up the feature win, being followed by Lynn Amick and Mike Jager. Lynn and Eddie would pick up heat wins, giving Eddie a broomy as well. In the Mod Force, it was you're going to hear these names a lot this over this recap, but it was Dustin Holtquist picking up the feature win, going +4, followed by Dean Larson and Kyle Hardesty. Dean Larson, Robert Holtquist, and Kyle Hardesty would all get a heat win. In the IMCA hobby stocks, these names are very familiar as well, as it was Brett Const picking up the feature win, followed by Travis Landauer, who went +10 to be hard charger for second, and Mike Matlock. Matlock and Const would pick up heat wins as well, giving Brett a broomy. In the Midwest mods, they had just an amazing field of cars out there for that, Mason. 35 in attendance, and that's a really strong number. Austin Long would pick up the feature win over Troy Liker, or Tony Liker, and then Troy Liker. The B main would go to Matthew Drake. Austin Long would pick up a heat win along with Darren Hoff, Tony Liker, and Connor Frisk. Is it Frisky?
Frisk.
Frisk. I bet people make fun of him by saying Frisky.
I'm interested to see that they started 20 Midwest mods in the A feature and ran 23 in the B main. That's a lot in a B main.
Here, here. Yeah. I don't understand it, but I'm not the promoter. I'm sure there's money and time-saving reasons for it, but it's not my track. But I do know one thing, Mason, and that is Austin Long picked up a broomy.
Yeah, he did.
Going to your IMCA mods, Dustin Anderson would pick up the feature win over the 26 car field. Again, I think they only ran 20 cars.
You're correct.
Interesting. Second place would go to Eddie Kirchhoff. Third place would go to Darren Conrad. Hard Charger would go to Smokin' Hank Berry, going +9 to finish sixth. B main would go to Alan Farley, which is almost more of a feat to win that instead of the feature because there's more cars in it. I don't know. But heat wins would go to Dustin Anderson, Darren Conrad, Eric Mask, and Jerry Martin, giving Dustin Anderson his broomy for the night.
And he came up from
what?
Omaha, Nebraska.
So this brings up a new question. This is the East-West clash.
Yep.
What defines a driver from the East and what defines a driver from the West? Where is the border?
I wonder because I know several people from like Dakota Speedway sometimes come over there. I know like Chris Pittenger, Marlon Sider come over there in years past. So I wonder if that's considered the East in this instance.
But then where does Nebraska fall?
Well, Nebraska in this case would probably be more East. But then if you look in like the Mod 4s, they had several drivers from Minnesota that came over.
So that's East. We'll take that as East. I don't know. I want someone from out there, a fan, promoter, driver. I want you guys to explain this to me. Maybe we got to get Brian Brennan when we see him over at the Oktoberfest at Dakota Speedway. Maybe we'll have some of you guys explain to us on Friday night how that works because I'd really like to know.
It's a very solid question.
All right, let's move on from there. We go to Saturday night number 2 over at the Electric City Speedway of the Montana Roundup. 65 cars in attendance, so you see a bump of 8 cars from the previous night. 15 Wissota Streets, 25 IMCA mods, 25 360. You're losing 2 360 ASCS national sprints. However, you're picking up 25 mods. That's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's take a look here. In the Wissota Streets, there's Robert Petrov. There's a lot of passing in this feature, by the way, Mason.
Yeah, there is.
+7 for Robert to get the feature win. +5 for Dylan to get Hop to get the second place finish. And Caden Craver goes +3 to get third. And fourth place is your hard charger of Marvin Gonzalez going +10. So much passing.
A lot of
I'm
passing.
exhausted. Anyways, Caden Craver and Robert Petroff would get your heat wins, given Robert your broomy for the night. In the IMCA mods, 25 cars in attendance, another really good field of cars, Mason. I have plus 11 for Joey Price and the feature win.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Hold Off Rex Feller and Kinsler McCord. Heat wins would go to Jordan Tucci, Corey Craver, Maurice Meyer, and Rex Feller. In the ASCS National 360 Sprints in the Frontier region, whatever we're calling it now, I'm getting a little more confused because I couldn't watch this event as no, maybe I could watch this one. I think the next week I couldn't watch. Too much racing. Anyways, Hank Davis would go +3 to pick up the feature win, followed again by Sam Hafferty Jr., followed by Matt Covington, who would go, I think I have +6 down.
Correct.
And the hard charger, this is an impressive feat. +16 to finish 8th was Kelly Miller.
Yeah.
So heck of a job there for Kelly. Your dash winner of the night would go to Sam Hafferty Jr., Terry Easom, Sam Hafferty, and Seth Bergman would be your heat winners.
And
And with that,
your hard charger in the IMCA modifieds was Sean LaRock.
really?
You went plus 13 from 22nd.
Dang, impressive.
So a lot of passing.
So with that, we close another night of the 20th annual Montana Roundup. And with that, we also flip the page
There we
in the
go.
notes. Heading back out to the East-West Clash over at the Gillette Thunder Speedway. It was night number 2, 110 cars, Mason. They only lost one from the first night, so that's pretty good. That's not bad. You'd think a battle of attrition would finally catch up with people at this point of the year, but not on that night, as we had 6 mini bombers, 11 super late models, 15 hobby stocks, 20 mod 4s, 24 modifieds, and 34 Midwest mods. In the mini bombers, it was Wyatt Robbins picking up the feature win, and the heat win would go to Chloe Anton. In the late models, it was Eddie Kirchhoff holding off Ty Hampel and Trevor Geist. Heat wins would go to Dan Henriksen and Don Geist. In the IMCA hobbies, it was Travis Landauer defeating Brett Const and Russ Dahlgarn. And the dash would go to John Lynch Jr. Heats would go to Brett Const, Russ Dahlgarn, and Travis Landauer, giving Travis his broomy. In the Mod 4s, it was the Hultquist show, as it was Dustin defeating Robert and Kyle Hardesty. And in the heats, it was Dustin and Robert Hultquist picking up heat wins along with Dean Larson. In the IMCA modifieds, it was Eddie Kirchhoff holding off Eric Mass, Dustin Anderson, and the hard charger going +12 was Chad Anderson. Heat wins would go to Smoke and Hank Berry, Eddie Kirchhoff, Eric Mass, and Alan Farley. In the Wissota Midwest mods, Tony Likert would defeat Darren Hoff, Austin Long, and the dash would go to Joel Morris. The B main would go to Troy Liker, and the heats would go to Tony Liker, Austin Long, Darren Hoff, and Matthew Drake. We made it.
Man.
Night number 2. Going on to Sunday, September 1st, back out at the Electric City Speedway for the final day of the Montana Roundup. Day number 3 would see the ASCS sprint cars moving out, and it would be a all regular show kind of night for them. 74 cars, really good fields across the board for the most part. 22 Midwest mods, 10 super stocks, 15 street stocks, 27 IMCA modifieds. In the Midwest mods, it was Colby Hanna picking up the feature win, going +7. He was followed by Jeremy Muirhopper going +8, and Travis Schumach would pick up third. Colby Hanna would go +9 for Hard Charger to finish 11th, and the heat wins would be Joey Price, Tyler Leach, and Colby Hanna, giving Colby a broomy. And I just realized, Mason, I forgot to say that Tony Liker picked up a broomy on night number 2 of the East-West Clash. So my bad.
Shame.
Along with Eddie Kirchhoff, too, and Dustin
Shame.
Holquist. A lot of broomies were not being handed out.
Yeah.
They're running out of room on their car to put the stickers,
I say
Mason.
we're running out of stickers.
That could be. If we ever did that, that would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Back to night 3, day 3 of Electric City. It was Casey Stephenson picking up the super stock feature when going +4 over Clay Irwin and Pacer Popham. Casey Stephenson would pick up a heat win along with PJ Popham, giving Casey the broomy. In the streets, it was Cale Tinker picking up the win over Dylan Hopp and Robert Petroff, who both went +5, finished second and third. Hard Charger went to fourth place finisher Marvin Gonzalez again. He passes a lot of cars.
I would say, why is
Maybe,
he starting at the back all the
I
time?
don't know, but he went +11. The heat wins would go to Anthony Casase. Casase. Or is it Casace
I
or
want to say it's
Casase?
Kakache. I want it to be Kakache.
Casace. Anyways, Casey Duran would be your other heat winner. In the IMCA mods, Joey Price again keeps winning, going +5. He defeated Ty Clemens, Jeremy Meerhofer, and the hard charger was Colby Hanna going +9 to finish 11th, and Meerhofer went +5 to finish third. Jordan Tucci, Ty Clemens, Casey Kennett, and David Davis would be your heat winners. And that would round up the 28th annual Montana Roundup.
That's a lot of racing over in Great Falls.
Yep. Speaking of another place with a lot of racing, let's head back over to the Gillette Thunder Speedway, day number 3 of the East-West Clash, as we're still trying to divide and figure out where the border lines are. I did not write down how many cars they had, but they had
108.
108.
Yep. So he lost
So
2.
3 cars total. Not bad. Not bad at all. But they keep getting late models as the weekend goes on.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but okay, whatever. 4 mini bombers, 33 Midwest mods, 19 Mod 4s, 16 hobby stocks, 24 IMCA mods, and 12 super late models. In the mini bombers, it was Trevor Powell picking up the feature win, with Wyatt Robbins picking up the heat win. In the Midwest mods, Darren Hoff would pick up the feature win, followed by Troy Likert and Connor Frisk. Hard Charger would go to Tony Liker, going +13 to finish 5th. B-Main would go to Doyle Erickson, and the heats would go to Darren Hoff, Paul Parks, Troy Liker, Connor Frisk, and that would give Darren a broomy for the weekend.
Solid.
And in the Mod Force, once again, it was the Holtquist show, as Dustin Holtquist would get feature win, followed by Robert Holtquist, and then Dean Larson. Kai Jackson would go +6 to finish 7th as your hard charger. Blake Erickson would get your dash win, and Dean Larson and Robert Holtquist and Dustin Holtquist would all get a heat win, giving Dustin a broomy. In the IMCA hobby stocks, it was Travis Landauer going to victory lane as he would hold off Brett Const and Mike Matlock. Why do I have everyone's names just written down here? I don't know. Anyways, your heat winners would go to Russ Dahlgarn, Mike Matlock, and Travis Landauer, giving Landauer yet another broomy. In the IMCA mods, it was Eddie Kirchhoff defeating Eric Mass, Chad Anderson, and Caden Roberts would finish 4th, as your hard charger, and the dash winner would go to Travis Davis, and the heat wins would go to Eddie Kirchhoff, Corey Rush, Jerry Martin, and Eric Mass, giving Eddie a broomy, and Eddie would pick up another broomy as he would basically get the clean sweep for the weekend in the super late models, as he would win the feature for that, followed by Mike Jagger, Trevor Geist, and Don Geist would pick up the other heat win. And with
Cool.
that, we should close out the first weekend, unless I missed something.
You got them all.
And with that, folks, next
Insert
page.
insert commercial break for sponsors we don't currently have.
Hey, sponsors, could be you. Could be you.
Indeed.
Anyways, let's move on to the following weekend, September 6th, 7th, and 8th, even though there was only racing on the 6th and the 7th. Now, Mason, I may need you to help me here because I probably missed something.
Okay, I got
I'm not sure because it didn't look like there was a lot of racing, but I might be mistaken.
Well, let's see what you got, and we'll critique you afterwards.
I'm sure there will be a lot of critiquing. Well, let's kick it off. Friday night, the Gallatin Speedway had the ASCS Big Sky Super Nationals ASCS final race for the Frontier region. And they kind of celebrated their regional champion. I did not write down the champion for that. Could you look that up as we get going?
I can look it up. You said the Frontier region?
Yep.
Okay.
So 83 cars made their way through the pits. 20 Wissota Streets, 13 Wissota Supers, 39. That is a lot of IMCA modifieds. I
Yeah.
don't even know where they all came from. But anyways, there was a lot.
Well, let's
As I
see.
would say, a lot of cars.
Well, a lot of them are from Montana, just looking at the hometowns. There's one from Texas, Wyoming, a couple from Wyoming. So, I mean, most from Montana, though.
That's really impressive. In the 360 sprints, they had 11 of them as well. Let's start. Well, let's just start from the top. It was Chris Galpin picking up. Well, it also should be noted this is night one of the Big Sky Super Nationals, so they had heats and dashes. Picking up the dash win was Chris Galpin, and your heat wins were Kyle Hansen and Chris Galpin and Caden Craver. In the Wissota Supers, it was Ryan Fashing picking up the dash win. Heat wins would go to Jeremy Meerhofer and Bo Brown. In the IMCA mods, it was Jeremy Meerhofer picking up the dash. Heats would go, they had a lot of heats. They had 6 heats. It was Rex Feller, Jeremy Meerhofer, Kinder McCord, Devin Jadwin, Joey Price, and Jordan Tucci picking up heat wins for the IMCA mods. And for the ASCS Frontier Region 360 sprints, in their A main, Trevor Kirkland would pick up the feature win, followed by Phil Dietz and Joe Perry. Trevor Kirkland and Joe Perry would get your heat wins, giving Trevor the initial broomy for the weekend. All right. Did another track race?
No.
Okay, good. I was honestly looking through my race pass thinking I missed something, and I was a bit paranoid about it.
Well, keep in
Whoa.
mind, too, that IMCA Supernaturals are taking place. So I think only a limited amount of racing could probably be taking place anyway. So hence why probably they're most of the modifieds flock to Gallatin.
Ah, fair. All right, so Saturday, let's kick it off with. Well, this is interesting. I have my notes wrong. So Gallatin had the ASCS sprint. The finale would take place the following night at Big Sky. That's on me. My bad. I would give myself a caution flag.
Well, you didn't say anything incorrectly, so well, maybe you did. I don't remember.
Well, technically, it was through last night at their track.
Sure, we'll go.
Sure, whatever. It's late. We're trying to play catch up from a couple weeks back. Anyways, Big Sky ASCS Frontier season finale is the highlight of the night. 60 cars in the pits, 15 360 sprints, 21 sport compacts, 14 NX Legends, and 10 Big Sky wingless sprints. In the Big Sky wingless sprints, it was Roy Guy III picking up the feature win after going +3 and holding off Bill Dietz, who also went +3 to get second, and Chris Williams, who also went +3 to get third, and the heat win would go to Chris Williams as well. In the NX Legends, it was Travis Wagner going +4 for the feature win to defeat Michael King and Josh Broadbent. Hard Charger would go to Stuart. Is it McKenzie?
I
McKenzie?
thought it was Mackenzie, but I think it's Stuart McKechnie,
Keckney.
according to from my
Okay.
race pass going.
Well, Stewart finished fourth after going +5. Randall Copeland and Michael King would get the heat wins. In the IMCA Sport Compacts, it was Chase Matty going +10 over Brady Lorenz and Corey Pritchett, who would also go +10. And those weren't even the hard chargers, as
Nope.
Anthony Whiteman went +13 to finish eighth. And then it was Cody Cassidy, Kyle Dalkey, and Destry Adams going on to take your heat wins.
I heard a baby in the background and I thought it was yours.
Not mine. I can't hear it.
Nope, there's one outside my apartment door.
Ah. Well, now let's talk about the ASCS Frontier season finale. It was Joe Perry picking up the feature win going +4 over Corey Wormling and Trevor Kirkland, who finished third after going +3. Ian Myers went +6 to finish sixth as the hard charger. Corey Wormling and Phil Dietz would pick up your feature wins. Now, do we want to say the winner here, or should we talk about the winner in kind of our roundup show?
I think we can mention him here.
So, who ended up being the season finale champion?
So for the Frontier region, it was Kelly Miller in the 2JR.
No real surprise there. He's a scrapper. He'll always find his way to the front. So, hats off to Kelly. We'll probably mention that again here coming up in one of our closing shows. Until then, let's move on to the next track. Gallatin Speedway, night 2 of the Big Sky Super Nationals. And 90 cars. They got more. I don't know how, but they got more. 21 streets, 14 supers, 39 mods, and 16 Western late models.
That's where they added in.
Gotta just add late models and sanction them, or else you won't get them. We learned that this year.
Yep.
In the streets, it was Troy Pack Jr. going +7 to get the feature win. He would be followed by Caden Craver going +1, and Robert Petrov would finish third after going +10 to be your hard charger for the night. The B mains would go to Dustin Collins and Rodney Hunter. And remember that this night would be B mains and features, except for the Western late models, which was a full show.
Yep.
In the Western Supers, it was Bo Brown holding off Jeremy Meerhofer and Nick Hunter. Bill Monnett would get the B main win. In the Western late models, it was a Vernon Hill Jr. going +3 after starting fourth to get the feature win, followed by Travis Schumott and Jim Zaremski, who went +3.
Yep.
And then Rock Deagley would go plus 10 to finish sixth and finish as your hard charger. Vernon Hill Jr. would get a heat win along with Ty Hample, giving Vernon his broomy for the night. In the IMCA modified feature, the big show for the evening, it was Kinzer McCord picking up the big feature win, followed by Ty Clemens, who started eighth, or nope, ninth, to get second. Jordan Tucci would get third. Colby Hanna, but he's been passing a lot of people,
Yes, yeah.
finishing finishing plus 14 at sixth place. Burt Beach, Colby Hanna, and Aaron Amundsen would be your B main winners. And with that, we finish up another week of racing. Now we're finally catching up to last week's racing. Still same page.
Still same page. Although there wasn't, I don't believe there was too much, if I recall.
No, looks like mainly Casper.
I think it was just Casper.
I think so too. I could
And
be
good for them
wrong.
that they were able to get a couple more shows in before the season ended out.
Yeah, I was happy for them. They struggled all season, but they stayed with it, and with their persistence, I think it paid off.
Mhm.
I'm gonna need your help with the car counts here because I didn't write them down.
62
Or
cars on Friday the
62.
13th.
Okay, and what was on? Well, we'll just worry about 62 for that. So Friday the 13th, Casper held their season doubleheader closing race. Uh, Kind of the highlights were the X mods and the ASCS Northern Plains sprint cars. 9 360 sprints, 18 X mods, 10 Rocky Mountain hardtops, 11 IMCA hobbies, 8 A mods, and 6 mini stocks. In the mini stocks, there was Mark Hammond picking up the feature win. Heat win would go to Lane Owens. And I need you to say this name, Mason. I'll start with the first name. You get the last name.
Okay.
In the A mods, it was Jason
Sheerkolk.
Sheerkolk. Interesting.
Yes,
Well, he picked up a broom. Let's just leave it at that.
you did.
In the IMCA hobbies, it was Cole Marlett?
Yes. Cole Marlott.
Cole Marlott going +8 for the feature win to defeat John Garrigan Jr. and Mike Matlock. Cole would pick up a broomy as he won his heat. In the Rocky Mountain hardtops, it was none other than Matt Brown after going +6 to pick up the feature win, followed by Brandon Sipp and Trevor Clark. Sipp would pick up the other. Brown and Sipp would pick up the heat wins, giving Matt Brown the broomy for the night. In the X mods, it was Troy Liker picking up the feature win as he held off a hard charging Justin Will, who went +8. Matthew Drake would finish third, and Sean Reed would finish fourth after going +14 and picking up the hard charger. Connor Frisk, Matthew Drake, and Troy Liker would pick up your heat wins, giving Liker the broomy for the X Mod division. In the ASCS Northern Plains sprint cars, it was the Kelly Miller show as he held off Nick Haygood and Adam Speckman. Miller would get a heat win along with Blaine Brink, giving Miller the broomy for the night. And with that,
one more
another
page.
page now. We're killing so many trees. Saturday night, back at Casper, 61 cars in attendance. Only class I really saw that lost a couple were the Rocky Mountains hard tops as they went down to 9, and the 360s went to 8. The X mods went down to 17, but the A mods picked up 2 more. So they didn't really lose that many because they picked up a couple extras.
Yep.
In the Rocky Mountains, it was Matt Brown picking up another win after going +4. Alex
Bukowiak.
Howiak went +6 for second. Cole Kennedy went +6 as well for third. Cole Kennedy went on to win heat along with Alex. How they've started so far back, I don't know. But might be a back row challenge type of deal.
Maybe.
In the IMCA hobby stocks, there was John Garrigan Jr. going +8 for the feature win, followed by Mike Matlock, who went +8 for second, and Russ Dahlgarn, who went +5 for third. A lot of passing in the feature. John Garrigan Jr. and Mike Matlock would pick up heat wins, giving Garrigan the broomy for the night. And in the A mods, they just call it A mods. I don't know if it's IMC or Wasota, but it was Jason Shearkolk picking up the feature and heat win. He'd be followed by Burt Beach and Jeff Cooper. The other heat win would go to Kyle Anton, and Jason would pick up a broomy for his efforts. In the mini stocks, there's Mark Hammond picking up the feature win, and the heat win would go to Lane Owens. And in the X mods, it was Troy Liker picking up another feature win, followed by Austin Long and Connor Frisky. Joel Myers would finish 7th after going +7. And for the hard charger, Austin Long, Troy Liker, and Connor Frisky all would pick up heat wins, giving Liker another broomy for the weekend. And in the ASCS Northern Plains 360 sprints, it was Nick Haygood picking up the feature win over Blaine Brink, who went +3, and Kelly Miller, who would finish third. It was Miller and Adam Speckman picking up heat wins to close out the season at Casper Speedway. And that, folks, is that.
Very good. It's Connor Frisk.
Connor Frisk, not Frisky.
Not Frisky.
Oh boy. I bet they've used that to taunt him. You feeling frisky? Are you?
Probably. I'm sure he's heard it just a couple of times.
I'm sure we probably shouldn't pick on him. All right, so moving on. We got a couple. I just have some brief notes for the upcoming races this weekend. There's 3 tracks racing. Well, technically, there's only 2 because my race pass messed up the Sheridan Speedway races. Those will be not this weekend, but next weekend, according to Mason.
Yes. And well, according to their Facebook, it says their next event is September 27th.
So next weekend. Anyways, we got some big racing coming up here. Over at the Big Sky Speedway, it is night number 1 of the inaugural Kelly Hampel Memorial. Might be only a 1-year deal, might be a multi-year deal. We're going to wait and see. But it's a really good looking deal here for the Wasota late models in honor of the passing of the late Kelly Hampel. Kelly did a lot of racing across the Midwest with the late model division. And, it's as I close everything out to get to what I need to see, it should be a really good show here, Mason. They got the IMCA modified Saturday only. No points, I guess, for this race. They got the Sport Compacts. They got the Wasota Midwest mods. And they misspelled that on their Facebook banner, but that's okay. They're wingless sprint open motor race. So kind of a cool deal here. There's no motor size rules for the Big Sky wingless sprints for this race. They're also bringing back the Wasota Street Stock Shootout. I'm not exactly sure what this entails of. But
I don't remember. I feel like it's an elevated payoff. I remember last year when we had that big battle for national points and we had all the national point contenders head out there.
Yep.
So
Well, we'll see what happens. They got a lot of big names for coming out here for this, Mason. Let's just look at the Wissota Wissota street stocks. It's been confirmed that Anthony, what are we calling it?
I want to say Kakache. I just want to.
Kasache will be there along with Les Cooney, Patrick Harvey, Connor Carter, Robert Petroff, Matt Reisinger, Barack Salisbury, Bob Gordon, Dylan Hopp, Pat Solway, Troy Seapack. All of those guys will be out there for the Wissota Street Stock. So a lot of big names. Kind of the who's who of the West will be out there.
Yep.
And then let's see, they also had Casey Durant just registered. Double check their Facebook here. They're all hoping that the weather holds off. It should be good, I think. I've seen nothing but good weather for this weekend, at least for us back a little further east. Um, then going through the late models that have pre-confirmed for this, a lot of who's who of late model drivers out west. Jeremy Castro will be there along with Ken Hellman, Dylan Price. Kind of excited for them to have Dylan out there. He's a really fun driver to watch. Ryan Fashion is going to be there. Now, so he will be racing his late model. Interesting. That'll be fun to see Ryan there. He's an excellent super stock driver. Then they got Rock Deagley, Devin Jadwin, Bo Nave, Dwayne Fowler, and a bunch of other guys coming in here, sliding through. Devin Keniston, keep sliding, keep sliding. Chris Hill, nah, that's going to be an IMCA guy or a Midwest Mod. Let's go back. That's a Wissota Midwest Mod.
Yep. Troy
Then they
CPAC.
got CPAC. CPAC Junior is going to be in one. That's cool. I like watching. We had Troy and Jeremy come over to the Dakota Speedway a couple times last year, and those guys are pretty awesome. Vernon Hill Jr. So they got a pretty really a who's who's list of drivers for the late model division out there. So it should be a good race for those guys. Now, looking at Saturday's payouts, they're saying the Hample Memorial race is two full shows, so that's good for national points. Saturdays, that's actually really cool that they're doing that. Saturday's payout for first place is going to be $3,636 for first, $1,636 for second, $1,036 for third, $836 for fourth, and it continues all the way down. And then it's $236 to start the feature. So definitely a good paying show for the late model guys out west. Definitely for a great cause and driver as Mason hits his microphone. But any thoughts about this one, Mason?
They should have a really good turnout. This is actually a really big weekend across the region, and so it's nice that the Western area drivers have a nice doubleheader race over at the Big Sky Speedway. So hopefully they get a good turnout in all of their classes and can keep this show going for future years.
Yep, as a fan of the Jamestown Stock Car Stampede, I'm a little frustrated to lose the few guys that we would lose. But you know what? At the other end of it, these guys need a place to race and a big invitational race as well.
Mhm.
And this is kind of a fun race, I think. It could be something really fun and spectacular for those guys out west. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the weather holds for them and they have a good turnout this weekend. Now, in other racing action, it's Salmon Valley hosting a doubleheader as well. They kind of are excited this weekend for the Wasota Supers, as that's kind of the main thing I really found on their Facebook page. This track, Mason, is basically a mystery to me. As all season, we've tried to find stuff on them. Besides the 6:15 start time, really not a lot else is known. They have IMCA mods, sprint cars, Wasota Supers, Renegade stocks, and a bunch of other um, ATV off-road style vehicle races as well. That's it.
Do you want to include a bonus race out
Oh, do
west?
tell.
Idaho Falls Raceway has championship night slash weekend.
See, I've looked for them and I must have scrolled over them. Tell me more about Idaho Falls.
Okay, so they
Is
have
it in Idaho?
it is in Idaho. And so they have racing both Friday and Saturday, the 20th and 21st. Racing starts at 7. They have some go-karts taking place on Saturday only. So they have a bunch of different classes there. Their main classes racing, I believe it's 2 full shows. And let me bring it back up here. They have Outlaw Minis, Street Stocks, IMCA Northern Sport Mods, IMCA Modifieds, Minnesota Super Stocks, Sport Compacts, and Legends. So,
Nice.
yep. So 7 o'clock both nights for racing action with adults at $13 for general admission, $8 for seniors, military, $6 for kids 6 to 12, and 5 and under are free.
Nice. So, anyways, at the beginning of this podcast or show or vlog or whatever we want to call this, Big Sky came out and just posted that they, like we said, we just went through Saturday's payouts. Friday's payouts are pretty solid too. 236 to start and $1,236 to win Friday night's late model purse. So yeah, should be a good night for them.
Agreed.
Now, I got a question for you. We kind of discussed this a little bit on the sanctioning side, and I don't know if the Highland Plains late model tour is still going. I haven't looked, but I thought last year they had a really good car count at their um, East West Class show. I thought they had them out there for that, and then this year they went away with it.
Yeah, so according to their Facebook, their next race looks to be at the RPM Speedway down in Kansas at the beginning of October.
Hmm. I just think the East West and now this Hample show, you would get a really big car count if you kept them as high. You would sanction through the High Plains late model tour.
I'd agree with that. I think they would definitely get a good turnout.
But I still think they're going to get a good turnout for late models as the sanctioning through Westsoda.
Mhm.
But I'm just curious to see how this works for them.
Well, I wanted to give a shout out because obviously I was at the Wasota 100 this last week, and we had several drivers from the West come out.
Oh,
So wanted to give a shout out to all those that made the long tow over to Fergus Falls. We know we had Robert Petroff over in the street stocks. Midwest Mod, I'm just going off the top of my head with this. I talked with Ty Miller and Travis Soper, and
hmm.
they were parked way in the back corner, pretty much as far away as you could park. But they were there. We had Patrick Lemire there in the super stocks, also Travis Shoemate in the 4C Midwest Mod was out there. And then Bodie Smith in the 32 was also out there. I was actually talking to his dad and actually telling him about the Western Roundup, and he was actually shocked that I knew who his son was.
Hmm. Nice.
That was pretty cool. I'm trying to see if there was any other ones that I missed. John Tribble was also out there, another name we've said quite a bit. I believe that was every Casey Stephenson also was out there. He had some rough luck throughout the week. Um, But yeah, it was nice to see a good representation from the drivers out west.
Hmm. Well, good representation means you're doing good. Life is
Yep.
good.
And Rob Arlod from Rapid City came over to MPH.
Nice. That was fun to see them over there. Uh, Bemidji hosting, it's kind of a questionable one for me. I don't know how I truly feel about it, but it's I'm happy that those classes get represented still in an event of that matter. But Bemidji, I think they could find a more central located track.
You're probably right on that. I will they racing wise, the racing was much better this year than it was the previous year. So they did a much better job on the track prep side of it. I almost forgot. Matt Heinzerling. I mean, he is guess considered West. He made the feature and finished 17th in the Midwest mods.
Nice. Well, with that, Mason, I feel this is probably one of our longest shows.
Well, what the heck? We should maybe not take 2 or 3 weeks off, or maybe we shouldn't have kids or something.
I'll try to remember that. I'll tell I'll tell little Riley that you said we shouldn't have had her.
I
The West has spoken.
The West has spoken.
They need to hear from us once a week.
Yep.
But with that, folks, get out and support these final shows. We only got a couple of weeks left. You guys are gonna end up finishing off about the same time that we're gonna finish. So get out, enjoy them. Weather's coming. It's coming, whether we like it or not. It's still like 80 in the days, but the nights are getting cold.
Yes, they are.
And just remember, get out, support these tracks, buy those last minute t-shirts and hoodies and beanies from all the drivers and tracks as well from these bigger events, and hit the concession stand and sponsors a few more times before the off season hits us. And until next time, get out there and support your tracks.